the last 3 and 4 years, there are various committees and commissions dealing with so-called minority issues like Justice Rangnath Mishra Commission, Justice Rajinder Sachar Committee report, now the Communal Violence Bill. So these things have engrossed me to such an extent that during my night sleep, if I have some kind of dream, in dreams Rajinder Sachar comes, sometimes Rangnath Mishra comes, and sometimes Tista Satarwad also. This happens. It would have been better that if I would have discussed the issue of price rise and corruption. But this is a grand design of the political system and a group of the elite and the people sitting at the top. The grand design was during the British rule not to allow people getting united and let them divided on the basis of religion, caste and creeds. That is known as divide and rule. This time when political system is losing its legitimacy, entire political establishment is losing its legitimacy. I was asking my friend Kiran on the way, till 70s we have options of political leaders whom photographs we could ask our children, get inspired by them. But in contemporary politics, we cannot have any politicians. We can ask our children to keep his or her photograph so that you can get inspiration. At least at the national level, we have no such politician. So we are living in the country, in the contemporary India, where we are finding ourselves leaderless. There are leaders, but there are no statesmen. In such a situation, I am going to speak on such a topic. What is the bill? Why we are talking about the bill? Is it a bill? There is a committee known as National Advisory Committee headed by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi had handpicked certain individuals who have never been elected in any political position, whose credentials are not only under doubt, but they are not the people beyond the partisan interests. There are hundreds and thousands of people in this country with integrity, and those who have worked in judiciary, legislature and executive, those who are in academics. But they are not selected in that committee. I am giving 2 and 3 examples. Mr. John Dayal, before he joined this committee, I was knowing him as a senior journalist. But when this committee was formed and when the committee framed this so-called proposed bill, I went through his biodata CV. I found that he is the spokesperson of Catholic organization in India, and he is a bridge between Vatican and Indian Catholics. Nothing bad. You can be representative of your any religion. There is one person who called George Bush terrorists. In committee there is another person, Harsh Mandal, who is always involved in such acts which goes against a particular ideology and particular group. And most of the people are running NGO, hugely funded by foreign agency. They cannot dispute. In America, the President of America has a committee, Economic Advisory Committee. The members of the committee are approved by Senate. Here Mrs. Gandhi has handpicked the people. So this committee has proposed a bill that is known as Prevention of Communal and Targeted Violence. I am giving two major things about the bill. Our constitution is based on rule of law. This is the fundamental of our constitution and not only our constitution but our society. There will be no discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, language, region or sex. Article 14 categorically says all citizens are equal before the law. And there should be no discrimination on illogical basis. And Article 15 mentions certain categories of illogical categories. One of them is sect. One cannot be discriminated on the basis of sect. We have some policy measures that is known as positive discrimination for those who are socially and economically backward. Historically and civilizationally, they are backward, to bringing them in the mainstream to create an egalitarian society. This is our basic presumption of the constitution. But this bill divides the Indian citizen in two categories. One is group, defines as a group. Others are others. Who are members of the group? For all practical purposes, two major religious communities, Muslims and Christians, are members of the group. Theoretically, they have kept two more categories, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. And others, rest of the people means majority community. This is the division. Now, before coming to the bill, I will give certain examples, implications of the bill. You are a landlord and you have a house in Bangalore which you want to, which you have given someone on rent. The person whom you have given on rent, at a particular point of time you want that he should vacate your house. You asked him to vacate the house and he refuses that I can't vacate at this time, it will take 1 more year, 2 more years, some kind of thing he is doing. Your option is go to the court, judiciary. And judiciary will decide what to do. But if this bill becomes the law, and coincidentally the person belongs to so-called minority group, and you are asking him to vacate the house, if he takes the position that, suppose he takes the position that you are asking to vacate him because he belongs to a particular religion, you will have no option except getting arrested. You are not only accused, you have to prove that you are not accused. It would be proven fact that you are guilty for that. You are not only accused, you are guilty. Second example I am giving. Two friends attending college, they are right from childhood friends. They don't know each other's religion except that their mode of worship is different. At one point of time, suppose one is my sister, other is someone your sister. At one point of time, both the girls are victim of, unfortunately victim of some anti-social elements, that they were raped. Now in the normal course, Indian Penal Code, the law would take its own course for both the victims. But if this bill becomes a law, the policeman who is investigating the case, the incident took place in the area of the policeman, he comes to the place, first question he will ask the religion of both the victims. And if the religion of the victim is so-called minority community, he will take the case of that particular victim because in his eyes, because he is under psychological threat. If any delay, any allegation of delay, either medical examination or any recording statement, he will be suspended. He will be declared criminal like a rapist. He had to fight the case in the court of law, and that court of law is not the court where our honorable justice was there. A parallel court of law has been created, that has been named national authority and the state authority. And these authorities have not been created in a secular parameter. Out of 7 members, 4 members should be from the 4 members are compulsory should be from the minority community, from the group. So he had to fight the case. Another implication of the bill. Almost all the time, any club, any association, any organization, if there is a contest for the president, secretary and vice president, people mobilize for the election. And there is a contest for the presidential seat, or there is a mobilization for consensus, creating consensus. But if the bill becomes the law, you will find that nobody would like to be office bearers of any Hindu organization, any organization belonging to majority community. Why? All the organizations belonging to majority community, whether they are registered or non-registered, whether it is a Ramlila committee or a Tarun Youth Club or a Lions Club or anything like that, if you are office bearer, any member of that group, any member of that association is arrested for any allegation that he is making propaganda against the group member, that is all practical purposes for minority community, or he is found attacking on minority community, he is found abusing minority community, the office bearers of all such organizations from which he is associated would be caught. They would be equated with the person who is guilty for that, so-called guilty for that. Now they have to prove that they are not guilty. Suppose that person thinks in other terms, I am being disowned by the office bearers of this organization. He will say, no, whatever I have done, I learned from my honorable office bearers. The national authority and state authority will punish the people like the person who belongs to it. If you have some fight on train for berth with some co-passengers, Fight is always a secular thing. You can fight with anybody, and court of law will decide. Court of law will decide who is right, who is wrong. But if you are fighting with a person who belongs to the group, and it comes into his or her mind that I should complain against this person because I belong to a particular religion, so he had victimized me, things will change. And the person who is victimized, so-called victimized, so-called from minority community, and the person who belongs to so-called majority community, he will be asked, do you belong to any organization? He will say, yes, I was a part of Ram Leela committee or Bangalore. Then who are the people who funded Ram Leela committee? Suppose Honorable Justice has given 100 rupees to the Ram Leela committee and the slip is passed to the national authority, he will be called as a guilty. Not that committee member has done wrong thing and the committee of his leaders have failed to prove that they are not anti-minority. They are not preaching, they are not indoctrinating their members as being anti-minority. These are some of the implications of the bill. There is nothing wrong having any law to prevent communal rights. Nobody can justify communal rights. No civil society can tolerate communal rights. Who begins communal rights, that is not important. How to stop it is more important. Every civil society must be free from such aberrations. But if any policy and any law, instead of preventing communal rights, creating provocation and polarization in the society in the name of group and the non-group cannot be acceptable. Why this situation has taken place? And what is the group? 3 people have been taken into the group, that is the religious minority, linguistic minority, and third is scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. There is a grand design to divide the society. There is already National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe. There have been toughest law. If you abuse any scheduled caste member, you will be arrested. There is a non-tenable warrant sometimes. Recently, the Vice Chancellor of one of Gujarat University was arrested because he has allegedly abused a scheduled caste teacher. The authority is already powerful. They are dealing with the case. No judicial system. For the same crime, there are 2 places of cases are dealt by 2 authorities, 2 places simultaneously. So why they have kept scheduled caste? For the last 4 to 5 years during the UP regime, scheduled castes are being used as a mask by pro-minority centric politics and politicians. These are the same people who were the part of the Abu Saleh Sharif, who was the member of the drafting of this bill, was also a member of the Structure Committee. And the Structure Committee, 3 Muslim members formed subcommittee going against the terms and conditions of the Structure Committee. You know, they have recommended such a thing which is unimaginable in the secular democracy. We can never think of that in an independent India. Such recommendations will come from a government committee's members. This subcommittee recommended that all the constituencies reserved for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes should be de-reserved immediately. Where substantial number the Muslims live. Because this is detrimental in the representation of the Muslims in the legislature. Not only that, they have written letter to Justice Kuldeep Singh, who was the chairman of the Delimitation Committee. Delimitation Committee has job to do delimitation of constituency after every 10 years. So in Bangalore Lok Sabha constituency, certain part of other area is included and other part of the area goes to other constituency. Keeping democracy vibrant, this is essentially done in any democracy. They have written letter to Delimitation Committee. The delimitation of Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha constituency, legislative constituency, should be done in such a way that all the Muslims residing in those areas should be brought under one constituency. In Bhopal, there are 23% Muslims, and Bhopal constituency there are 18% Muslims. They expect all 23% should be brought under the Bhopal Lok Sabha constituency. In Karimnagar and Malda, in Bengal, there are 47% Muslims, and Malda constituency there is 40% Muslim. They would expect all 47% Muslims should be brought under the Malda constituency. The Muslim League, which was formed in 1906, it took 40 years to convince the Muslim and the society that there are two nations, Hindu and Muslim, which Indian National Congress has not accepted, India has not accepted. But this structure committee members had taken over only 6 months to do what Muslim League had done in 40 years. They don't have sympathy with the scheduled castes. They have done only as a mask that they are not doing for the religious minority, they are also doing for the marginal section, that is scheduled caste. So all practical purposes, this bill applies to the two religious community, Christian and Muslim. They have not used the term religious community. They have used religious minority. The committee is doing the religious minority without knowing that the Constitution has not defined the minority term. It has used the term minority, but it has not defined in terms of religion. And the Constituent Assembly of any country creates benchmark. It is a guide and a philosopher. When there was a debate in the friends in the Constituent Assembly, I will quote two members from the so-called minority community. It was a self-introspective debate. It was a debate which was asking questions. Why India was divided despite that Indian civilization believes in diversities? Without diversity, Indian civilization cannot survive. India and diversity both are synonymous terms. In a family, my mother is not vegetarian, I am a non-vegetarian, live together, respect together. So diversity begins from my mother and son. In the same family, one is Saiva, another is Vaishnava. And also in the same family, one is Astik, another is a Nastik. He says, I don't worship God. One is Arsamaji. So India is a classical home, multiculturalism. Yes, there are aberrations, and aberration, we should fight against aberration in the society. Every society has certain kind of aberrations. So in the Constituent Assembly, a Muslim member, Tajamoon Hussain, he raised one voice and he says, the term and concept of minority is a British creation, and Britishers have gone with them. The term and concept of minority has also gone. There is no minority in India. Because we worship the same God with different name, that does not mean I am a minority. We are all Indians. Second person who raised the question of minority was Dr. S.C. Mukherjee. Coincidentally, he was by faith Christian. He was also Vice Chairman of the Constituent Assembly. He raised two questions before the Constituent Assembly. Do you genuinely want to create a secular state? He asked the Constituent Assembly. Do you want to have one nation? And then he responded his own questions. If we want to create a secular state and one nation, we cannot dare to accept any religious community as a minority on the basis of religion. He used the term dare. We cannot dare. जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं हम जोखिम नहीं उठा सकते हैं किसी भी समुदाय को अल्पसंख्यक समुदाय माने धर्म के आधार पर. And lastly, when Z.F. Lari demanded reservation on the basis of religion, pleading the case that we are younger brother, most of the Muslims left for Pakistan, we have remained a few Muslims in India. We need your affection, he told Sardar Patel. Kindly give us some affection. So continue with the reservation on the basis of religion. Sardar Patel said, we have seen your affection. These are the words of Sardar Patel in the Constituent Assembly of India in 1949, May 1949. We have seen your affection. Don't talk of affection. The Muslim of the Hindu majority provinces who led the agitation of Pakistan, you demanded Pakistan, you got it, what else you want? You want that I should accept your demand to divide the divided India again? With the clapping in the Constituent Assembly, most of the Muslim members supporting Sardar Patel, most of the members of the Constituent Assembly having faith in Christianity supporting Sardar Patel, rejected the demand for reservation on the ground of religion. And Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said in the Constituent Assembly, this is the turning point in the history of India. Look that turning point to 2011. There was Sardar Patel, here is Sardar Manmohan Singh. There was Begum Aizaz Rasool from Uttar Pradesh. She is told that if we have to live in India, we have to win the goodwill of the majority community. There is no difference between majority and minority. Here is Sonia Gandhi. There was Dr. S.C. Mukherjee. Here is a John Dayal. And moreover, there was Tajamul Hussain. Here there are thousands of aberrations of Tajamul Hussain. They are demanding day and night reservation. So my dear friends, this question communal violence bill is not an isolated event. The politics and policies of the UPA government and the political establishment, the secularist philosophy of a kind of intelligentsia has created an atmosphere where India cannot remain one. Every day they are bringing out something. You are chasing for one thing, another thing comes. Then you start chasing one thing, then another thing comes. That's why I told that I have in dream these Taj and John Dayal and Rajinder Sachar. So the bill was framed. There are two major criteria for the bill. This is the only bill which is without preface. Why they are creating bill, they are not saying in the bill. They have created the bill. I am king and queen, I will create. Who are you to ask why you are creating the bill? After all, this is the queen who is creating the bill. Without preface this bill. In newspaper articles they are writing. They are giving why they have framed the bill. Two reasons they are giving. that Muslims are discriminated since independence. So there is an institutional discrimination of the Muslim by judiciary, by police, by bureaucracy, by academic institutions. So Muslims are getting marginalized. Number one, that may be. Second, they are giving logic that throughout the history of communal rights, the communal rights is being started by the majority community. Ultimate victim is the minority community. These are the two premises of the bill. That's why in the bill they have changed the definition of communal violence, communal and targeted violence. Any spontaneous and systematic attack on the members of the group is a communal violence. Right from medieval age to modern age, we have one definition of the communal violence. The fight between two religious communities, two caste communities is known as a communal violence. It is our honorable justice and judges to decide who are guilty, who are not the guilty. Who initiated the rights, who did not initiate the rights. But this bill assumes that in future, if any right would take place, the guilty would be the majority community. In 2040, 2080, 2090, if any communal right takes place, victim would be so-called minority community and the aggressor would be the majority community. So first arrest will be made from the majority community. Victim means the people belonging to group. In 1870s, British government made a law, Criminal Trials Act, in which it declared 250 tribals as criminals. So their generation by generation, their sons and daughters were declared criminals. There cannot be Buddha, there cannot be JP, there cannot be any sannyasi in these families. All will be criminal. It was assumed. On the pattern of this is a resurrection of that Criminal Trials Act. Now this is a Criminal Hindu Act. All Hindu are communal. Their aggression, they generate and initiate riots. They don't use the term Hindu and Muslim. But the hidden agenda is no more the hidden agenda. They are calling the majority community as the initiator of the riots. Who is the majority community in this country? In most of the states. This bill is not applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. Even if it is applicable in Jammu and Kashmir, you see the Kashmiri Pandits could not be sent back to Kashmir Valley. What kind of life they are living in this country, we all understand. And ISI funded intellectuals, intelligentsia, and most of them are framing the bill for us. So I was talking the two premises of the bill. One was Muslim backwardness and discrimination. I am giving you the statistics provided by the Government of India, Census Commission. Since 1961 to 2001, the rate of growth in the Muslims in all the states is higher than the Hindu rate of growth. I am giving certain examples of some states. Assam, the general population grew at the rate of 140% and Muslim population grew at the rate of 200%. In Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, general population growth was 196%. And Uttar Pradesh, the Muslim population grew at the rate of, general population grew at the rate of 136%, Muslim population grew at the rate of 196%, and in Bihar, 201%. In Haryana, the general growth of the population, average rate of population growth was 178%, and Muslim population grew at the rate of 321%. In Delhi, capital city of India, The general growth of the population is at the rate of, you guess, 421%, and Muslim population grew merely at the rate of 944%. In Orissa, general population grew 109%, and Muslim population grew at the rate of 253%. In Kerala, general population grew at the rate of 88%, and Muslim population grew at 159%. In Madhya Pradesh, 150% general, they have grew to 22%. In 1947, India and Pakistan became two nation states. Hindus are counted on fingers in Pakistan. This is marginalization, this is discrimination. Here, they are counted in the percentage. So, my dear friends, there is no discrimination. There may be mind quoting Humayun Kabir. There cannot be intellectual like Humayun Kabir. AAFIG, he was a member of the Union Public Service Commission. Justice M.H. Beg. What? Humayun Kabir said, a Brahmin will blame other caste for discrimination, other caste will blame Brahmin for discrimination. A Hindu will blame Muslim for discrimination, Muslim will blame Hindus for discrimination. The reason is lack of adequate resources for the people. There is a nepotism, there is a casteism, there is a communalism, but there is no institutional bias in this secular country. Exception cannot be law. I may be biased, but for me, our honorable justice cannot be declared biased. One Muslim may be biased, for due to him, entire Muslim community cannot be declared biased. So they say there is institutional discrimination. Why institutional discrimination? They say we are backward. We are lagging behind the majority community Hindu. That is some way this is a fact. My another counter question is, in 1870, British government created a Hunter committee which examined the backwardness of the Muslims. In 2005, then such a committee was created by the European government which examined the backwardness of the Muslims. In 1920, 30, 40 Muslims demanded reservation due to their backwardness. The same thing happening in 2010. So my question with them, what is the difference between the demands raised during the colonial period and demands raised after the independence? What are the premises for the backwardness before independence? What are the premises for the backwardness after the independence? What are the logic for reservation before independence? What are the logic after the independence? There is no fundamental difference. So if you are backward, there is no fundamental differences. The demand. So basic thing is that no community should be backward, no community should remain unprotected. So something lies in their religious social thinking. And the first major thing that if your religious outlook, if your religious viewpoint is stopping you for getting justice, getting modern education, you must rethink over it. If any honest commission examines the backwardness of the Muslims, they must examine what is the basic reason lies in their religious worldview. You are sending their children to madrasa. Second Education Commission wrote to the Queen that most of the Muslim parents love to send their children to madrasa. And one Muslim Islamic voice published from Bangalore published an article by Jogendra Sikand. He is an expert on the Muslim affairs. In 2006, he is writing, I have prepared a bibliography of the Muslim writings on education. Most of the writings on education is concerned to Islamic history of Islamic education, history of education in classical Islamic civilization. There is no place for the need for the modern education. Scientific knowledge. Then he asked one of the editors of the Muslim Journal, why don't you write? He said, we know that if in true sense Islam is followed, all problems would be resolved. So why we waste time on writing on modern education? True solution lies in the following Islam, becoming true Muslim. So according to their worldview, knowledge of Islamic law is the scholarly knowledge. Knowledge of education in Islamic worldview is the real knowledge. That's why most of the people remaining in the small areas, guided by the masjid and mullahs, remain backward, and the microscopic minority of the Muslims who are influenced by the Western education, modern civilization, they get the place. So the reason for backwardness during 1870 when Hunter Committee was formed, and the reason for backwardness in 2005 when such a committee was formed, they are akin, they are similar. So real disease were somewhere else, you are investigating something else. Second question they have raised, that most of the riots had been initiated by the Hindus. My dear friends, those who initiate riots, they are neither Hindus, they are non-Muslims. They are criminals. They should be taken by the law, by judiciary, by the police and administration. They cannot be religious people, they cannot be civilized people. Whether it is the right of 2002 Godra riots or after Godra or any other riots in the country. But misleading information does not work. In 2007, Home Ministry formed a committee to examine the regions of the communal rights. A report of the working group of the National Integration Council to study the reports of the Commissions of Inquiry on Communal Rights 2007, Ministry of Home Affairs 2007. This is available on internet. So I am giving 2 and 3 instances how the rights begins. A report of the Justice Shiv Dayal Srivastava on Commission of Inquiry rights at Jabalpur, Sagar, Damoh and Narsimhapur, district of Madhya Pradesh during February 1961. The commission says, a Hindu unmarried girl, 18 to 20 years of age, resided with her parents in Jabalpur. On February 3, 1961, about 2:30 hours, she committed suicide. It is said that 2 Muslim young men committed rape on her when she was all alone in her house. Immediately after the rape, she poured kerosene oil over the body and set herself on fire. Her freaks attracted some neighbors who removed her to Victoria Hospital. The attending doctor asked her how she got the burn. She told him the case. Her dying declaration was recorded by doctor. This was how the communal rights begins. Then the commission also felt that political parties should change their attitude in approaching the people for gain, especially during election. They should not exploit communal or caste feeling for their purposes. No political or economic cultural issues should be discussed or agitated from a purely communal angle. This is the recommendation of that commission. The region of right said. Another commission, report of the Justice Raghuvar Dayal Commission of Inquiry, rights in Solapur in Maharashtra. The police in Solapur had controlled the number of torches that were to be carried by the Muslims during the Muharram procession on 2nd May 1966. This had infuriated the Muslims who refused to take out the procession instead of march to the collector's office next day. There were allegations and counter-allegations between the police and the Muslims, who finally agreed to take out procession. Suspicions, however, lingered in the minds of Muslims, who felt that the Hindus were instrumental in reducing the number of torches on which the police had taken action. Then on 31st May 1967, a Muslim girl playing with the steel rod with a green wire suffered fatal injury. It was found that she was playing with an electronic detonator, and the explosion was due to frictional heat. Subsequently, the shop of a well-known merchant was raided on 9/11/1967, and hidden stocks of unlicensed detonators were seized. This incident embittered the Muslims against the Hindus. A report of the Justice Raghuvar Commission of Inquiry, Raish in Ahmednagar in Maharashtra in 1967. The commission went into the events which took place on 18 September 1967 at Ahmednagar. They found that the events were sudden eruption resulting from disfigurement of the idols at the major temple. Apparently, the city of Ahmednagar had a number of mosques, piers and dargah on the main road which were blocking traffic. Efforts by the municipality and the citizens to remove them made the limited success. There were incidents where the temples and Hindus were failed at acts such as removal of the idols. So the region of riots, same commission says, most of the riots took place due to the root of the process of the idol immersion. So where is that Hindus are initiating riots? I am not calling Hindus and Muslims, but even if we are talking in terms of Hindus and Muslims, out of 29 riots they studied by the Home Ministry's committee, most of the riots were initiated by Muslims. It is unfortunate that I have to discourse in the terms of Hindu and Muslims. It is very unfortunate. So this is the Communal Violence Bill. Is persuading every intellectual to discourse in terms of the Hindus and Muslims. The real purpose is to divide the intellectuals, divide the society. So coming back to Communal Violence Bill, I will take a few more minutes. This bill suggests that if a policeman is going for an investigation and he is interrogating a criminal. Now you have to know the religion of the criminal. If such a criminal says that I was mentally tortured during the interrogation, if he is a Hindu, nobody is going to care. If he belongs to group, if he belongs to minority community and he alleges that during the interrogation, I was tortured, mentally tortured, psychologically tortured, the fate of the policeman would be, it will be reversed. Policeman will become a criminal. The threat of suspension, threat of criminal case, threat of imprisonment is there in the bill. Other thing. In any area, if there is a communal tension, the bill says, categorically says, the policeman would be asked which Hindu or which majority organization belong to majority community doing activities there, consistently activities there. So it is assumed that the activities of the Hindu majority community is a reason for the communal tension in that area. So implication of the bill that no Hindu organization should work in any area. No Hindu organization should do mobilization in Hindu area. The policeman would be on watch because his own job is under threat. In 1932, Nazi have framed a law to purify the bureaucracy. Their assumption was the bureaucracy was pro-Jews, so they needed to purify the bureaucracy. They were not pro-Jews, they were neutral bureaucracy. They were honest, they were following the rule of law. Now, In categorical terms, the Communal Violence Bill alleges entire police and bureaucracy for being prejudiced to the minority community, being biased against the minority community, acting as biased against the minority community. And I believe if we will not oppose this bill, tomorrow judiciary will be victim. Our honorable judge know. When the Sahbano case came to the Supreme Court, Arif Muhammad Khan had to resign from the cabinet minister. He defended Sahbano. Supreme Court gave the verdict for uniform civil code in the country. One of the cabinet minister in the parliament says, this is the first time Indian judiciary was attacked in the parliament, none other than the member of the executive of Indian executive. He says, these are the little judges. They cannot evaluate our personal laws. The verdict was burnt. We tolerated. The entire nation bowed down before the fundamentalists. So now they came to the extent dividing the society into groups. If there is a cartoon is published, oral or any written propaganda against the minority community, any propaganda and misinformation that is by you, if you belong to majority community, if you have written something, in my book I have given 3 examples. Acharya Kripalani had 6 brothers. One of the brother was converted into Islam. Nothing wrong. Anybody can be converted. Gandhi's son was converted to Islam. When Gandhi's son Hiralal Gandhi was converted to Islam, Gandhi wrote in his Harjan. He is the first father who is writing against his son. He was editor, he was publisher, he was owner of the Harjan paper. He wrote, it was not the change of heart. Hiralal has 2 ill habits. One, visiting ill houses. You understand the ill houses means visiting the sex workers. A second, taking wine, drinking. Due to 2 ill habits, he was indebted by the Pathans. They are blackmailing him. So he was converted to Islam. So he made numerous Muslim friends to ask Hiralal Gandhi to come back to Hinduism. Gandhi wrote by his name in his own paper. It was a character assassination of his son, but this could have been taken as the propaganda against Islam. And Gandhi could no longer be, according to this bill, a secular person. So any written propaganda. So Muslim Hassan, a historian and the vice chancellor of, a few months back, vice chancellor of Jamia Millia wrote, the writings of Lal Balpal, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal had alienated Muslims. They created hatredness among the Muslims. Muslims were hurt by their feelings. So writings of Lal Balpal will be under this law. A communal writing they would have been to remove from the textbooks. If you are quoting Lal Balpal, you will be victim, you will be criminal. You are spreading hatredness against the Muslims. Kripalani's brother was converted to Islam. His brother kidnapped his own brother, 13-year-old brother who was a student of class 3rd. He kidnapped him. He was forcibly converted to Islam. He was sent to Afghan-Turk border where he died in the war. So it was declared Jannat, he got the Jannat. So Kripalani said in his oral history before his death, which is available in Nehru Memorial Museum Library in Delhi. I have just gone through that document. He says Islam creates a feeling of like opium. For them, beyond religion, there is no relationship in this world. They kill all kind of relations, all kind of maryada in the society. For that, Kripalani would be posthumously declared communal and his writings would be removed. I am quoting another B.T. Ranadive from Kerala. When for the first time Communist Party came into government in Kerala, they brought an educational bill. And they had a very good provision, their common education for all Hindu, Muslim, Christian and all communities. This creates mutual sympathy for all the communities. They sit together, they study together, they know each other, they develop friendship. Catholics support this. All the Catholic organizations wrote to the letters to all Catholics. Communist governments are destroying the Catholic culture, Catholic education. Don't send your children to the government school. Then B.T. Ranadive wrote, it is the foreign funded money which is destroying the Kerala through Catholic organization. They are the agents of the reaction. So Marxist leader B.T. Ranadive, he is not the part of Bharatiya Janata Party or RSS. He will be declared communal and posthumously he would also be a criminal. Third example I am giving of Jayaprakash Narayan. In 1946 there was a flood in Bihar and there was a relief camp. Muslim League alleged that Jayaprakash Narayan was provoking Hindus against the Muslims. Then Jawaharlal Nehru had to go to Patna, issue a press statement in favor of Jayaprakash Narayan. He cannot be a communal person, he is not doing so. But if this bill would have been law at that time, Jayaprakash Narayan would have been arrested for merely this allegation. So freedom of expression, freedom of speech, rule of law, this bill is making a death knell to all such glorious concepts which our democracy, which our secular democracy, which our constitution inherited from the freedom struggle. We are not opposing any law which is preventing communal rights. We are not opposing any law which is giving toughest punishment to the rioters who initiate communal rights. We are opposing only those proposed law which is dividing the society and creating a situation of civil war and ending the interdependence of the community. We all know that in this country, in market, who is the Muslim shopkeeper, who is the Hindu shopkeeper, we hardly know. But if in your neighbor there is a Muslim shopkeeper or a Hindu shopkeeper, if he is selling the drugs, he is a chemist, he is selling a drugs which is outdated drugs, you have tried with him, he makes a complaint that he is victimizing me. You ask the people that he is selling the outdated drugs, you said to the people in the market and people stop going to his shop. This bill says, if you are creating hostile atmosphere for his livelihood, you are the criminal. You will be arrested. So you cannot fight him. You have to say, no, brother, whatever you are doing, you are right. So why you are creating such a situation? In that case, nobody will make tenant of other community. Nobody will have economic joint venture. That's why I say this bill must be opposed and the real reason must be searched why Muslims are backward, why riots take place, how can we create a more harmonious civil society in India. This is not the way. This is a kind of a design to divide the society, to prevent India to become a superpower, create feuds in the social life. I am just giving one example. There is a National Family Health Survey report, 1998-1999. It surveyed the Muslim women, the condition of the Muslim women and Hindu women. There is a comparative study. How many Muslim women are beaten and how many Muslim Hindu wives are beaten? the study says, these kind of secular studies should be done and the regions should be traced. It says 5.5% Hindu women are beaten because they are not cooking well. The percentage of Muslims is 10.5%, just the 13.8% Hindu wives are beaten because they neglect child. The number of Muslim women is 21%. For suspicion, husband suspects wife for some kind of extramarital relation or like that, 8.6 Hindu women are beaten, and Muslims is 14.9. Without informing, going outside home, 11% Hindu wives are beaten. The number of Muslim wives are 22.9%. From the parental family, the expected amount they don't receive, monetary amount they don't receive. The number of wives for that region beaten in Hindu are 2.04 and Muslim 4.4%. So this is the secular study. In both the communities there is a gender injustice, and there must be efforts, should be honest efforts should be done to remove gender injustice. Kindly don't teach multiculturalism in India, in Belgium. In Senate there are 136 members. Out of 136 members, 134 were present when the voting was done on banning burqa. You know, in Belgium, merely 90 women use burqa. Merely 90 women. They were declared threat to the internal security, and all 134 members, 100% members voted banning burqa. France banned burqa. Australia banned burqa. Belgium had banned. And Germany's cultural minister declared burqa as a mobile prison. But if this bill becomes law, we don't subscribe banning burqa. It is a personal choice of a woman. But I don't subscribe debate on burqa. If we can debate on sati, if we can debate on parda pratha, we must debate on gender justice without any biasness. But we cannot impose on Muslim women, don't wear the burqa. But we cannot force them to wear the burqa. Civil society must intervene, whether I am a Hindu or a Muslim. I have right to debate, I am a part of a secular society. But if this, even before this bill becomes law, if I debate, there will be communal rights in the country. If this bill becomes law, I cannot debate on burqa because this hurts. Imrana was raped by her father-in-law in 2009. Entire judicial system remained outside the Imrana's case. The Shariat court decided Imrana has to stay with his father-in-law because he was raped by father-in-law. He had to divorce her husband. A woman who is victimized, getting double punishment. My wife would be raped by my father, and a religious court will decide my wife had to divorce me. She needs more sympathy. She needs more commitment from my side. So what kind of society we are living? So my dear friends, this bill is not an isolated event. The intellectual environment is created where if you are talking against such a bill, such provision, you will be declared communal. People don't like such speeches even. So index of communalism has gone up and this index of secularism of society has gone down. So our task is not to only oppose this bill, our task is to increase the index of secularization of the society and decrease the communalization of the society. Thank you.